Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of the Tea Brief. We're back in the original room. This is where I came up with the idea of the Tea Brief. This is where I shot the very first Tea Brief back in April of last year when we were talking about our time at Clay Pigeon, the season opener of that year. And we're back in the room once again talking about Clay Pigeon. Obviously it's not the season opener anymore, it's round number 4 of the Club 100 Endurance Championship. No SP60 to talk about at all today. I saw that Pete Gillette and Max Jameson were having a very close battle, but in the end it went the way of Max Jameson. I've no idea what that championship looks like, because I don't think they've updated it, so we move on that one. But yeah, no SP60 anymore for that. We're talking firmly about the endurance. So yesterday, this all happened yesterday. It was me and Adam Pugh, because Tom and Jasper, they were both off doing other things. Tom was at Glastonbury and Jasper was doing his RAF champs. Jasper is in the RAF and they have a karting competition with the RAF, Navy and Army. So he was off doing that, and that for him does take, like, if that clashes with Club 100, he goes and does that instead of Club 100, which I think you can understand is perfectly understandable. So drafted Adam in from Slow Coach Racing. We've known Adam is also a Swan, so we weren't doing proper heresy. He is a very good racing driver, and yeah, all keeping very nice in with the Swan theme. So took me a long time to get down there. I was very tired, as I mentioned, watching the SP60 beforehand, and then getting into the actual day, we'd worked out that because Adam needs a lot of lead, we worked out he'd do qualifying, he'd do the races, he'd do qualifying and the first hour stint. I also had to show him how to get the radios to work, so just in terms of faffing about with everything, it just made sense for just me to be out there, like out on the being the pit engineer first up, so that he doesn't have to muck around trying to get everything in ahead of going out for his stint. So that's how we worked it out. And how did qualifying go? Well, first of all, I've been told that there were a few karts that were probably not as good as they could be out there. And when I got into the karts and started driving around, I thought, oh, this feels quite nice. And I could tell it felt quite nice, because at the start of practice, I was keeping up with the likes, or when I say keeping up, I mean I wasn't losing sight of the likes of Titan or Dickie Allen. And if I can keep them in my view, me, obviously 96 kilo me, that's obviously a good sign. So something was going right, and I thought we got a good chance here. And then Adam went out and did qualifying, and then he got a freak lap right at the start, because the toe was really powerful, because there was a massive headwind coming down the main straight, and on his very first lap he got a really good toe from the guy in front, and that led him, he did a 41.4, and that was good enough for 5th overall, like 5th on the grid. I think matches our best qualifying ever, and meant that we were on pole for the clubman as well. So it was like, right, finally a qualifying that went well. Oh joy, what could possibly go wrong from here? So yeah, that was qualifying, really good stuff. And then just said to Adam, look, you're on the right side of the grid, just nail the guy in front of you through the first corners, through the chicane, and then we'll see how it plays from there. And that is ultimately what he did. It was Joe Holmes directly in front of him, and he just kept on his arse, was able to get past Anwar through the chicane. So we were running 4th for a while. We'd sort of worked on our strategy to say, like, look, if we're up, then we're running in the good pace. Let's stay out and see what happens. Unfortunately, the pace was fine. It's just the other guys were faster, and it ultimately led us to. Adam eventually got swallowed up a little bit by the guys behind. I think he got T-boned at one point, which wasn't helpful, and lost like 6 positions. So we lost a decent amount of time then. So we pulled him in quite quickly. We fell quite far behind J.K. Rowling, Rolling, who had pitted within the first lap or as soon as the window opened. So that just shows, like, if you get it right, the early pit stop does work. So yeah, we were going quite nicely, and then where do I begin? So we were running 8th after the pit stops had finished, 8th overall. fourth in class, and I was like, we are in a good position, we're setting good competitive times, we are in a hunt for a podium here. And then I watched Adam coming up to some back markers, I watched him get past the back marker, happy days, like, yeah, good, all good, and then all of a sudden on the radio I hear, why have I got a black flag? And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And Adam was like, I'm sorry, what? And we didn't come in for a bit because we thought it might have been a mistake. We thought the wrong driver had been identified because there was nothing that I had seen, Adam had seen, or Adam had felt he had done to warrant a black flag. But it showed up again and he had to come in. I checked with JV just before he came in to find out why have we got a black flag. And it turned out that the lapping move that Adam had done was adjudged to be an advantage by contact bump and pass, ABC BAP for the acronym. And look, I've said this many a times in the past, I will never be the person to single out marshals to say like that was or single someone out who's made a bad decision. I'm never gonna be that person. I'm not gonna do that now. But given that I was watching the move, given that Adam was out there doing it, and given what I've watched on the onboard, I have to say it's up there as one of the worst decisions I or anyone I've been associated with on a racing team have ever been on the receiving end of. And Adam was fuming out there. I was fuming so much that at one point JV actually pulled me aside and just sort of said like, look, this is what's happened, calm down, basically. And I was like, the main frustration was that we were doing so well. We were running in a really good position. A win might have been a bit of a stretch, but a podium was on the cards, and it got taken away from us in what we thought was very harsh conditions. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. I'm not gonna. If I talk to you more about it, I'll end up saying something that I shouldn't. So we just had to buckle down and get on with it and just see what the recovery could be. And we were doing quite well. We ended up actually doing quite well for the majority of the rest of the race. We were doing really quite well. We were up into the teens. I think our best hope was to ultimately win the Inters class. That was like my aim. So if we could still just be like, if we were still in the Inters class, if we were to win that, then that I'd say that's still a decent day. Still shows that we're on and around where we were last year, if not better. So that was the aim, and it was going that way for a long time. The rest of his stint was decent. We got on good pace, and then we did our pit stops. Our pit stops were perfect. The radios, they just make such a big difference. So much so that right at the end of the race, a dad of one of the new Inter teams, I think, or a dad of a team, said like, look, I've bought my kids so many different types of radios, and the Bluetooth interference has always been horrific. I just said, get yourself a VNet Phone V6 because they are brilliant. There's a reason we all use them. So hopefully he's gone away and gone and done that. So it was all going well. Pace was great. I went out and was doing very well. Sorry, just to come back onto the pit stops. Adam has a lot of lead. Adam also has his pedals in the middle section. I have mine furthest away. So the pit stop was GoPro on, and then I have to do the pedals. Adam had to make sure that the fuel cap was in the seat, and he took the lead off. And it was such an operation, and we got it all done before the refueling was done, and it was so good. We absolutely nailed it. It was great. So yeah, marched on from there on in, kept on doing my thing, put a lap in on Lee Henderson, which was quite satisfying, I have to say, and then was having a lovely time, put a really good move in on Brilio, who we caught, obviously big rivals in the endurance, and then just towards the end of before the final stop, for some reason I kept making really silly mistakes into the first hairpin, and 2 laps in a row, I just completely fucked up my braking, and I'd overtaken I'd overtaken Brilliant, and then that led them back past. And I didn't understand how it all of a sudden happened. It went so wrong, I just had to really get myself back into the groove, and eventually I did, but it was really strange. And coming into the final set, it's like, right, head down, keep going, and that was it for the majority. And then all of a sudden, I just heard from Adam on the radio that the next guys behind you, there's about 5 of them, they are all for position. And I was like, And then Brilio had swapped drivers. So I've mentioned this before. Brilio have got one very good driver, and another driver who is just he's not very quick, unfortunately. But I think they've worked it, like how they do their system. I think they might chop and change quite a bit. And yeah, I suddenly noticed it was the fast driver. I was like, oh no, this guy. Me and him always end up coming to blows on track. I was like, please let me finish in front of him. And I got back past him. He got past me. I got back past him into the chicane, and then on just towards the end, it was like, look, I'm keeping these guys behind, defending massively into Billy's, and I thought I had them covered through the midsection, but then I think it was Apparatix went down the inside into the horseshoe, and then on the last lap, Conman got me just before the chicane, and then Brilio got me on the very final go into the horseshoe. And there was nothing I could really do to get back, and like I was raging across the line because like there was a bit of contact, and I was in my head. I was like, well, if we got a black flag for what happened to us, then he should be getting a 1 lap deduction for what he just did to me. But I've watched it back, and it was a decent move. There was a bit of side to side contact, which isn't a penalty, apparently. But yeah, so we crossed the line in 17th. 10th in class. So for the first time since starting doing the T-Brief, for the first time since December 2020, I don't have a podium trophy to show you. I don't have a podium to tell you about, which is it's an interesting feeling because on the one hand that just shows how good a run I had last year, and just how good a run I've had in general. And on the other hand, it does also show just how like disappointed I am with what happened. It's just so frustrating because we should have had a podium yesterday, or we should have at least been in the fight for a podium. If we'd have come 4th in class, I'd have gone like, that's annoying. But at the end of the day, we were close and we had good pace, but didn't even get that. And that's what pisses me off most about that black flag. Is the fact that we were doing so well, and I just didn't think we deserved to get that. But at the end of the day, that is racing. You win some, you lose some, and it just hurts so much more when you lose some. And again, I think that also shows like how good a run we've had. In that's the first time since like since the start of last year that something's gone against us, and it's been like, you know what, that like. It's the first time that something's gone wrong for us, and it's like, well, I can't see why that happened. Like when things have gone wrong for us before, it's been like, okay, fair enough, we deserved that. But this one, I just didn't feel that way, and that's why I was so angry, and that's why I'm still bitter about it at this point. But yeah, looking forward to hopefully bringing some more positive news when it comes to doing T-Briefs in this room. Thank you very much for watching. That is the end of it. Next time out, we are at Bayford Meadows. It's only in 2 weeks' time. I'm going to work as quickly as I can to get the footage out from Clay up onto the channel. And I haven't mentioned this yet, so if you are still watching, this is nice. If you're watching at this stage, that means you're a big Rich T fan. So little thing for you here. I bought myself a voice recorder in preparation for this for the race yesterday, and so that I could record what me and Adam were saying to each other. And annoyingly, I forgot to bring my GoPro strap, so I couldn't do it as well as I could, but I had to listen to it, and you can just about hear what I'm saying to Adam, what Adam's saying to me when we've got the headphones on. So hopefully I should be able to bring you a video where you've got casting footage and being able to hear what driver to pit are saying to each other. So fingers crossed that works, and I cannot wait to bring that footage to you. I can't wait to bring all of it to you. And yeah, that is it. Thank you very much for watching, if you are still watching. And if you are still watching and for some reason you're not subscribed to the channel, as ever, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications so that you know when a new Rich T Racing video comes out. Thank you very much for watching. And all I should say for now is ta-ta and farewell. That's the taste of desire.